So now we discuss the separable kernel method for solving integral equations. So this method is also called the degenerate kernel method. So this method is useful when the kernel is separable, and the advantages of using this method are: 1. The integral equation is equivalent to a set of simultaneous linear algebraic equations. So we will see this and we can solve this integral equation in the same way as we solve a set of simultaneous linear algebraic equations. So the second advantage is that the method leads to a set of eigenvalues and eigenfunctions. Now, if the kernel k of xt is separable, we have seen that the integral equation can be replaced by simultaneous algebraic equations. So a kernel is separable means k of xt can be represented as summation j equal to 1 to n mg of x into ng of t. That means the kernel can be represented as a product of function of x into function of t, and there are many terms, finite number of terms involving the product of function of x and function of t. So here the upper limit of the sum is a finite quantity. So this kind of kernels are also called degenerate kernels. So examples of this kernels are all polynomials and many functions like cos t minus x. Cos t minus x can be written as cos t cos x plus sin t sin x. So cos t is the function of t in the first term, so it is written as n1 of t, and cos x is the function of x in the first term, so it can be written as m1 of x, and sin t is the function of t in the second term, so therefore it can be written as n2 of t, and sin x as the function of x in the second term, and therefore it is m2 of x. So there are two terms here, and if we write this like this, we have j equal to 1 to 2 mg of x into ng of t. That means m1 n1 plus m2 n2. These are the terms. And simple functions like x minus t can be also treated like separable kernels. Here x minus t can be written as x into 1 minus 1 into t. So x is the function of x, this is m1, and the function of t is a constant 1 n1, and here in the second part m2 is minus 1 and n2 is t. So you can write m2 as plus 1 and n2 as minus t as well. So we can take the negative into any of this function, either m or n. Many simple functions can be treated as separable kernels. So if the kernel is separable, the Fredholm integral equation of second kind becomes, so this is the Fredholm integral equation of second kind, phi of x is equal to f of x plus lambda integral a to x k of xt phi of t dt. So we substitute the kernel as summation j equal to 1 to n mj of x into ng of t. So we will get phi of x is equal to f of x plus lambda integral a to b summation j goes from 1 to n mj of x into ng of t phi of t dt. So this is treated as equation number 1. So now interchanging integration and summation. So the integration is with respect to t and summation is with respect to j. So we will write summation first. So we will get phi of x is equal to f of x plus lambda summation j equal to 1 to n. So the mj of x here is independent of the variable t, integrating variable t, and can be taken out of the integral. Mj of x into integral a to b nj of t phi of t dt. So here we can see that this integral a to b nj of t phi of t dt will be independent of t after integration. So this is the integral consists of t variables only. So finally after, so we know that a definite integral is independent of the integrating variable. So we will get this as a function of b and a as a constant. So the integral with respect to t is a constant. So it will only depend on the variable j. For different j's, nj will be different and this constant will be different. When j equal to 1, this constant is c1. When j equal to 2, this is c2. And when for a particular j, the constant is cj. So we can call this equation as equation number 2. So, integral a to b ng of t phi of t dt is cj. In terms of cj, the above equation number 2 can be written as phi of x is equal to f of x plus lambda integral j to n cj mj of x. So, this is equation number 3 and we can call this integral a to b ng of t phi of t dt as just equation number 8. So, now from equation number 3 we can see that equation number 3 gives phi of x, which is nothing but the solution. So phi of x is equal to f of x plus lambda summation j equal to 1 to n cj into mj of x. Mj's are known, m1, m2, m3 are known, where n is the number of terms in the kernel. So if there are 2 terms, j equal to 1 to 2. Then we have to determine C1 and C2 to get the solution. So the solution is known if the constant Cj have been determined for every j. So if n is equal to 2, the solution is phi of x plus is equal to f of x plus lambda C1 m1 plus C2 m2. So the above equation tells us the form of phi of x. It is equal to f of x plus f of x is the non-homogeneous term plus a linear combination of x-dependent factors of the kernel. X-dependent factors are m1, m2, m3, etc. So if we have 2 terms, we have m1 and m2 only in the kernel. So now we have to determine Cj's. For simplicity, we will determine C1 first. So for this, we have to multiply equation number 3 with n1 of x and integrating from a to b to eliminate x dependence. So this is equation number 3. When we multiply this equation number 3 with n1 of x, and integrating from a to b, we will get integral a to b n1 of x into phi of x ds is equal to integral a to b n1 of x into f of x dx plus lambda integral a to b n1 of x into summation j goes from 1 to n cj mj of x dx. So from equation number a, we know that integral a to b nj of x phi of x dx is equal to cj. Nj of t phi of t dt, whatever be the integrating variable, either x or t, the result is cj. So when we integrate from a to b n1 of x phi of x dx, it will be c1. So c1 is equal to integral a to b n1 of x into f of x dx plus lambda summation and integration can be interchanged. Lambda into summation j goes from 1 to n cj. Cj is independent of x and can be taken out of the integral sign. Integral a to b n1 of x mj of x dx. So this is the value of C1. So similarly, Ci's can be written as integral a to b. Instead of 1, we have to put i's. So integral a to b ni of x f of x dx plus lambda summation j goes from 1 to n cj into integral a to b ni of x into mj of x dx. So we may find Ci by multiplying by equation number 3 by ni of x and integrating from a to b to eliminate x dependence. So we will get this. So we have already said Ci is equal to integral a to b ni of x f of x dx plus lambda summation j goes from 1 to n cj integral a to b ni of x mj of x dx. So we can call this integral a to b ni of x into f of x dx as bi's. So we know that this integral is a constant that depends only on the variable I, because this integration is with respect to x, and after this is a definite integral, and after integration this is independent of x. We have a constant that depends only on the value of the index I. So we can call this as bi. And integral a to b, this term ni of x mg of x dx. This is a constant that will depend only on the variables I and j. So we can call this as aij. So there is an index I over here and j over here. So this constant depends. So as I and j changes, this constant also changes. So this is a constant that depends only on the variables I and j. So we will call this as aij. So this equation can be written as Ci is equal to bi plus lambda summation j goes from 1 to n aij cj. So this is easy to write in matrix form with aij as matrix A. aij ഒരു A matrix ആയിട്ട് എടുക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ നമുക്ക് ഇതിനെ C matrix is equal to B matrix plus lambda into A matrix multiplied by C matrix എന്ന് എഴുതാം. So ഇതിനെ റീഅറേഞ്ച് ചെയ്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നമുക്ക് C റൈറ്റ് സൈഡിലേക്ക് എടുത്തു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ B is equal to C minus ലാംഡ എ സി എന്ന് എഴുതാം. സോ അതിനെ നമുക്ക് ഐ മൈനസ് ലാംഡ എ ഇൻറ്റു സി. ഇവിടെ നമ്മൾ മെട്രിക്സ് ആകുമ്പോൾ ഇത് ഐ എന്ന് എഴുതാം, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ നമുക്ക് 1 എഴുതാം. മെട്രിക്സ് കേസ് ആകുമ്പോൾ ഐ മൈനസ് ലാംഡ എ ഇൻറ്റു സി. അപ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് നേരിട്ട് സി ഇങ്ങനെ ഡിറ്റർമൈൻ ചെയ്യാം മെട്രിക്സ് മെത്തേഡ് വഴി. സി ആണ് നമ്മുടെ അൺനോൺ വേരിയബിൾസ്. 1 മൈനസ് ലാംഡ എ ഇൻവേഴ്സ് ബി എന്ന് എഴുതാം. അല്ലെങ്കിൽ നമുക്ക് ഈ ഇക്വേഷനെ മെട്രിക്സ് ഫോമിൽ എഴുതാം. ബി സപ്പോസ് അവിടെ 3 ടേംസ് ഉണ്ടെന്ന് കരുതുക. അപ്പോൾ ബിയിലെ മെട്രിക്സിലെ എലിമെന്റ്സ് B1 B2 B3. ദെൻ ഐ മൈനസ് ലാംഡ എ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്, ഐ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ നമുക്കറിയാം യൂണിറ്റ് മെട്രിക്സ് ആണ്. ലാംഡ എ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ലാംഡ A11 ലാംഡ A12 ലാംഡ A13 ലാംഡ A21 അങ്ങനെയുള്ള ടേംസ് വരും. അപ്പോൾ ഐ മൈനസ് ലാംഡ എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ ഡയഗണൽ ടേംസിലെല്ലാം 1 മൈനസ് ലാംഡ എന്ന് വരും, ബാക്കിയുള്ളിടത്തെല്ലാം 0 മൈനസ് അല്ലേ. അപ്പം നമുക്ക് കിട്ടുക 1 മൈനസ് lambda a11 minus lambda a12 minus lambda a13 minus lambda a21 1 minus lambda a22 minus lambda a23 minus lambda a31 minus lambda a32 1 minus lambda a33. ഇതാണ് ഈ മാട്രിക്സ് വരുന്നത്. സി എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ C1 C2 C3. സോ ദിസ് ഇക്വേഷൻ ഇസ് ഇക്വലന്റ് ടു എ സെറ്റ് ഓഫ് സൈമൾട്ടേനിയസ് ലീനിയർ ആൾജിബ്രിക് ഇക്വേഷൻസ്. അപ്പോൾ അവിടെ നമുക്ക് B1നെ എങ്ങനെ എഴുതാം? മാട്രിക്സ് മൾട്ടിപ്ലിക്കേഷൻ അനുസരിച്ച് 1 മൈനസ് ലാംഡ A11 ഇൻറ്റു C1 minus lambda a12 c2 minus lambda a13 c3 ഇങ്ങനെ എഴുതാം. b2 ഇങ്ങനെ എഴുതാം, b3 ഇങ്ങനെ എഴുതാം. b2 എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് മൈനസ് ലാംഡ a21 c1 പ്ലസ് 1 minus lambda a22 c2 minus lambda a23 c3 and b3 is equal to minus lambda a31 c1 minus lambda a32 c2 plus 1 minus lambda a33 c3 into c3. So we got three equations, three simultaneous linear algebraic equations. So the integral equation where the kernel contains three terms is equivalent to three simultaneous linear algebraic equations. So we can solve the integral equation in the same method as we solve the set of simultaneous linear algebraic equations. So solving this, we can find the values of C1, C2 and C3. If C1, C2 and C3 are known, the solution is given by f of x plus C1 into m1 plus C2 m2 plus C3 m3. So this can be solved using matrix method or using Cramer's rule. So b1, b2, b3 are given by bi is equal to integral a to b ni of x into f of x dx. b1 is equal to integral a to b n1 of x into f of x dx, and similarly b2 is integral a to b n2 of x into f of x dx, and by changing the values of ni's we can get the corresponding bi's. And the matrix A is a11, a12, a13, a21, a22, a23, a31, a32, a33, and the different terms aij's can be determined by integral a to b ni of x mj of x dx. So when I and j are equal to 1, we will get a11, which is integral a to b n1 of x into m1 of x dx, and a12 is equal to integral a to b n1 of x m2 of x dx, and a13 is equal to integral a to b n1 of x m3 of x dx. And similarly all the other terms of the matrix can be determined. So if we have 3 terms in the kernel, we will have 9 terms in the A matrix, A11, A12, etc. up to A33. So all the 9 terms can be determined using this equation. So if we have 2 terms in the kernel, we can have this 4 terms in this A matrix. It will be a 2 by 2 matrix. If there are 3 terms in the kernel, this will be a 3 by 3 matrix. And all the terms of A matrix can be determined using this equation, and all the terms of B matrix can be determined using this equation. So knowing A matrix, the components of A matrix A11, A12 and the components of B matrix, we can determine the components of C matrix, that is C1, C2 and C3. And knowing the values of Ci's, we can determine the solution using equation number 3. Now for a simple equation, if the integral equation is homogeneous, that means f of x is equal to 0. The components of the B matrix are 0. Since f of x is 0 over here, B1, B2, B3, etc. are zeros, and B matrix is a 0 matrix. So in the set of linear algebraic equations, we have zeros over the right side. So we have a set of homogeneous linear algebraic equations. So in order to get the solution, we set the determinant of the coefficients of Ci equal to 0. That means determinant I minus lambda A is equal to 0. So solving this, we will get the values of lambda, which are the eigenvalues of the equation. So substituting the eigenvalues lambda into 1 minus lambda a into c equal to 0. This is the equation when b equal to 0, I minus lambda a times c equal to 0. We can get the values of ci's. And knowing the values of ci's, the solution is given by phi of x is equal to lambda c1 m1 lambda c2 m2 etc. or lambda times summation j goes from 1 to n cj mj of x. So for each lambda we have a particular solution, and therefore these are called the eigenfunctions. So using separable kernel method we will get different eigenvalues and the corresponding eigenfunctions. So in separable kernel method, the integral equation is equivalent to a set of simultaneous linear algebraic equations, and also we can get the eigenvalues lambda and the corresponding eigenfunctions. The solution here are called the eigenfunctions. For each eigenvalue we have an eigenfunction. So we will get eigenvalues and eigenfunctions, and this method will be clear when we discuss one example. That will be done in the next class. Thank you.